Today's video, a Rubicon moment arrived. Hi and welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching. In today's video we're going to talk about a Rubicon moment. A Rubicon moment is something that many people actually say but don't really know much about. A Rubicon was actually a river many years ago in Italy. We'll find out a little bit more in a moment. Please remember to comment though, either during or after the video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We always have the power to withhold our consent. Whatever other people want us to do, whatever they want us to be, how they want us to behave, where they want us to go. We always have the power to withhold our consent. On his way back to Rome, Julius Ceaser crossed the Rubicon. Every army had to cross the Rubicon to get back to Rome. But the whole idea back then was that at that particular point, you gave up charge of the army. You were no longer controlling it. And then Rome knew that you were coming as a friend, not an enemy. Well, this day, Caesar decided that he was going to cross the Rubicon at the head of his army and head to Rome. By doing so, history would show that he would change a republic into an empire. This is about how a generation treats people with contempt. They become lazy and disinterested. The generation has had the rights and the freedoms and the benefits, and now they just kind of take it all for granted. Once this happens for a period of time, it just kind of starts to show that it's not worth having anymore. These moments come along now and then, and when it does, chaos ensues and change is bound to happen. People don't really like change that much. The accepted norms are gone, the differences all turn up, and we have to change our behaviour somewhat. But this has to happen to all of us so that we can move on, so that we can be appreciated again, and how we can possibly fit into change or continue that change. It's said that the world is changed by unreasonable people. After all, reasonable people just carry on being reasonable, just tolerate each other, just muddle along. Caesar had his Rubicon moment. He decided that he wanted things to be different, and indeed, after his conquering of Rome, things were very different. Things changed. Things moved on. The new norm was established. Both the current Conservative government and the population of the United Kingdom, the electorate, are either at the Rubicon moment or are arriving at the Rubicon moment. It seems that some are already prepared to cross the river. We have entered a time of many people striking and seemingly ignorance from our masters. And once you reach that moment, the moment where you're taking things for granted and have done so for some considerable time, things are going to change. Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong, probably for both sides of the argument actually. But I think the Rubicon moment has finally arrived. 2 years of what still may turn out to be betrayal. 2 years of being locked up during a pandemic. Well, it's starting to actually look as though we probably could have got through it without getting the country into huge, massive, unrepayable debt. A Prime Minister who lied to us whilst him and his buddies parted on into the night, making us, the electorate, suffer. A change of Prime Minister and a disastrous budget that took us to the brink of economic suicide and made the ordinary person in the street suffer even more. Another new Prime Minister that got us into the debt in the first place, and now he says he'll get us out of it, whilst at the same time refuses to cooperate with the unions. Meantime, the ordinary person in the street suffers 10% inflation, higher food inflation, sometimes nothing to eat, children starving, and more people using food banks, whilst at the same time still being forced to accept migrants crossing the channel in small boats, being housed and fed better than some of our own. People no longer can stand to be paid poorly, having lost out for years under the current government. And the current inflation is taking people to the brink. Having been crippled by the government, we're now being crippled by strike action. Train workers, postal workers, nurses and more, all taking action because they're withholding their consent. People will no longer consent to poor wages, poor housing and poor health. Change is indeed started by unreasonable people. Julius Ceaser, for example, crossing the Rubicon all those years ago. Then surely we have an awful lot of unreasonable people right here and right now. If this isn't a Rubicon moment, I'm not really sure what one looks like. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you join in. I hope you have your Rubicon moment, and I hope you're out there telling the government exactly what you think, because that's really important. Withholding your consent is very important. Hope you enjoy yourself over the next few days. Hopefully I'll see you before Christmas. If not, have a great Christmas. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe, check out the rest of the content on the channel, and I will see you in the next video.